Hello and welcome to 83 of the Youth Intake Challenge. As we go through the end of season review, we negotiate the summer tier we can keep, and then we head into what will be the final save, the final season, to see if we can finally get in there and compete at the top end of the table. So it should be a good episode. I'll get through it, and I'll see you very shortly for the end of season review. So here we go, end of season 2049-50. So we're away in the future now. It's been a huge number of seasons since we got going. In terms of transfers out, there was a few kind of left. Silverio, one of the longer term serving players. Arnold rolled down again, still only 27, but he's moved on. Caden Keys, one of the goalkeepers. So we've got a few players kind of slipping out the door. I mean, John O'Carr, 30 years old, he wanted to move on as well. So a few of them kind of older players just slipping through. Some more of the ones that have been with us for a while included in this than has been previously. But again, we just need to keep that rotation round as we bring new players into the squad. And it's the same again for this big summer as we lead into the final season. In terms of loans out, again, there was a number of players went out on various different loans. Some did better than others. Spingidis, I still can't say him. I don't know if I can include him in the squad next season because I just can't pronounce his name. But he went away to PAOK. 11 goals in 31 games isn't too bad a return. Kelton Neves, one of the wingers on the right hand side, he had a good season. Seamus Byrne didn't get as much game time as he wanted, so he moved out on loan. So again, a huge number of players out there. In terms of the ones who might well fit in when they come back, we've got Victor Brinkhurst, centre half, might well feature in the next season. Victor Rooks, one of the young wingers on the right hand side, he might well come back and feature a little bit. But outside of that, not too many of them. Maybe Ewan Thomas as another centre half rotational, and of course Sivkinigdis. It's the closest I've come yet. Let's just leave it with that. In terms of the season's results, we got an A rating. Primus was top goal scorer with 17 Premier League goals. We finished 8th, just outside the European spots. Frustrating end to the season, really. We had a really slow start. And this is probably a bit thematic over the years. Had quite a slow start, didn't get the points we wanted at the start of the season, slipping up at Southampton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Nottingham Forest. We had a really good mid-season where we picked up a load of results. That was despite some players being away for African Cup of Nations, etc. But then towards the end, we really tailed off a little bit. Did peak back up towards the end as we got wins against Fulham, a 7-1 against the mighty Everton and Sunderland before losing the final two games, which just kind of ended our little promotion push, our little push for Europe, and we finished just a little bit wayward. So 8 points outside of them European spots. It would have been nice to get in there, but Premier League wise, 8th is not a bad finish from where we are, and to do with the challenge and getting the young players in, we've maybe not had as many stay long term as we wanted. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I think you can't really argue that 8th is a good finish in terms of a sustainable youth challenge. Europa League, we did all right until we met Juventus, and even in that second leg, we were 4-2 down. We managed to tie at 4-4 on the night, but they came on and they scored 4 goals. We went a little bit more attacking. They shipped some goals past us, and I think if you take Juventus out of it, it was quite a good season really in terms of that competition. If we'd have drawn anyone else, we'd have gone a bit further. Maybe somebody else could have knocked them out, but again, just a stretch too far for us in our current state. Again, Primus top goal scorer in that competition with 6. FA Cup wise, again, we've got a couple easy draws for the first time. So we got Haringey Borough, we beat 5-1, Barnet 3-0, Sheffield United 2-0. Just unfortunately we hit Newcastle at the wrong time and they beat us 2-0 in the quarterfinals. Oza top goal scorer in that competition, which shows you we were kind of rotating a little bit as we progressed through there. Carabao Cup, as in previous seasons, kicked out pretty much straight away by Chelsea. Top goal scorer to Jay Rivers, who then went out on loan, so we didn't feel the strongest team we could, but that's where we were. And then in the Charity Shield, Chelsea beat us 1-0 again. No goal scorers in that competition, but competition-wise, I think overall, not bad. 8th in the Premier League, competing on most fronts. Moments to remember, 7-1 win against the mighty Everton. Match to remember, a 2-1 win away at Nice. A really good side. Ronaldo, one of the better players in terms of the World Player of the Year type awards. And then goal of the season was scored by Igiwa, who has featured more and more, but we'll get to as we get into the squad rotation through the summer. In terms of the finances, we're up to a continental club reputation, which is good, so 4 stars on that. Annual revenues have gone down somewhat, but I think when you look at each one independently, not by a drastic amount, apart from maybe the competition prize money, which has dropped off, but that's because we haven't really won any competitions or progressed this far. In terms of the shirt sales, Mandan, the Sarkodie, Clifford, Fulks and Primus. Fulks, a nice little inclusion to see in there, one of the youngsters coming through. He's had a fantastic season. Came in one, not the latest intake, but one before, and he's gone from strength to strength, cementing himself in the first team. And you can see from how we lined up, Kutlu in goals, a back four of Harris, Carter, Clifford and Brewstad. Brewstad's going to get phased out now for definite. I think it's about time he's moved on. We get someone else in there. Oviehan, Sarkodie and Mandanda. I think Oviehan moves slightly further forward. Kiwa comes in defensive midfielder. And then we've got Fulks, Joseph and Primus. Some of our top performing players in that kind of attacking role. So that bodes well for next season for a bit of consistency in there. In terms of the accolades, nothing for the manager. No surprise there. Player of the season was Primus. Young player of the season was Fulks. Goal of the season, Giwa, which we'd seen. Top goal scorer, no surprise with Primus as the sole striker. Most assists, Joseph. So a really good breakthrough season for him on the left-hand side, cementing himself ahead of Oza now. Most man of the match is Primus. Highest average rating, Chris Fulks, so the 17-year-old winger. I know we've got a competition for him in the latest intake as well, with the generational talent coming through. In terms of the competition awards, African Footballer of the Year, Ahmed Sarkodie. Again, brilliant player, best player at the club, I think, by far. 24 years old, 4.5 star ability. Managed to hold on to him long term as well. So, yeah, really good player. I'd love to have had him alongside Sodge because I think we'd been in a different kettle of fish. And then the young player of the year, Chris Fulks. Again, only 17 years old. A lot more development to come from him. But to win the Young Player of the Year for the season in the Premier League is fantastic. And it bodes well as we move into the final season. Outside of that, history in the making, not much to talk about there. And then the manager timeline, not too much really in there. Chris Fulks, Next Gen Award. So he was the only one that was in there. So that was pretty good. But outside of that, not really anything. A club record 7-1 win against Everton, but we'll brush that aside. As an Everton fan, it's not something I'm particularly going to focus on. But that is the club update. So that's where I'm going to negotiate our way through the summer, see if we can hold on to as many players as we can. Before we get into a quick summary of what we're trying to do, keepers will remain the same. Probably best through the squad planner. Kutlu, Duncan and Dynan. Left-hand side, we're going to look for Harrison, Strid, Bukaru, possibly move on. Centre halves, we've got Clifford, Carter, Harris, Brinkhurst and Santos coming into the squad. On the right back, we've got Solcone and Strid. So again, Bukaru can move on. Maybe Brewstad as well if we can get fee for him. Defensive midfielder, we've got Oviehan and Giwa to rotate through. Paul Brown and Robbie Harris. Again, Harris would go if any offers came in. Sarkodie, Oviehan, Brown, Kennedy, Houghton. Plenty of midfielders on that side. Right hand side, we're really strong now. We've got Fulks, Samana, Ben. We've got Ritz as well to come through from one of the previous intakes. Some players coming back from loan. On the left, we've got Joseph and Oza. Lippman will probably try and move on. And then up front, we've got Primus, Lieberds, Vingadis, and Ogachuk with the generational talent. So lots to try and keep a hold of. I'll get through the summer, see where we are at the other side, and then we'll look what shape we're in as we build into next season and have a look at a couple of the players we think might star in what will be the final season of the save. And welcome back. We have negotiated our way through the summer. We've let a few players go out on loan, as you can see there. I'll take you through the reserve squad in a minute so you can see who's gone. But one of the big ones that's gone is Barrett Oza. 27.5 million, rise to 30.5, gone to Norwich. He wanted to leave because he wanted to do something else, been here a long time. Joseph was our number one starter on the left hand side, so actually it was okay to let him go. So he's drifted off. We've let a load of players go out on loan. So we'll have a look at the squad now and see as we build into the new season, the final season, what players we've got. There's a few new players in here to look at, some of them exciting. So let's, without further ado, go through the squad. Fahim Kutlu and Ricardo Duncan will carry on as number 1 and 2 goalkeepers respectively. I think Kutlu will start as the number 1. Duncan may be able to oust him. They're fairly close. There's a bit of a potential question mark over Duncan. But starting with Kutlu in goals, 24-year-old. I think you can agree he's got a really good spread of stats on there. 40 to 44 million value. English goalkeeper, sweeper keeper. There's not much more to say really. Really good servant to the club. He's been with us for a huge number of years. More and more promising and prevalent as the seasons have gone on. But yeah, so first name on the team sheet for him, Kutlu, with Duncan playing understudy. In terms of the centre halves, we've got the usual Montel, Clifford, who we'll just have a quick peek at. I mean, he's got the stats in the right places, but he's not really got the same stat spread or excitement around him as some of the other players. 32 years old now, he's got 97 caps for Jamaica, so he's been a terrific and sturdy servant for a long time. He's kind of probably going to be a first choice, maybe getting phased out as we go along. Marlon Harris was named one of the players of the under 19 England squad, so he will hopefully get more and more game time. He's up to 5-star potential, so let's hope he can build on some of that. Still some question marks over his height. He's not the tallest of the centre backs, but I think we can all agree he's got a much better overall stat spread than Clifford has, perhaps. So as an 18-year-old coming on, I think he's got potential to go a lot further than him in the game. Brewstad will be phased out. He's 31 years old now. He's kind of a right back, left back. He'll be used more of a reserve as we phase some of the other players into it. Samson Ogachukwu, a Nigerian centre half. Again, probably not quite ready, but he's going to be in there as a developmental player. Bolster the squad. I think we're up to about 32 players, and we'll give him some game time in some of the trophies or easy games, maybe as a substitute if we can, to rotate the squad. One of them ones is if he's not quite ready, but we need some players, certainly at centre half, to rotate around to keep the ones who are playing game in, game out a bit fresh. Alex Soken, this should hopefully be the breakthrough season for him. Again, his stats are grown and grown. He's going to come in at right back. Brewstad will phase out. He'll hopefully be our starter at right back, and he'll develop really quickly. 20 years old now, so it's kind of make or break for him. Not really featured too much in the under 21s or anything, but this might be the season for him to kind of get in the starting lineup and make a play of what he can do. Jamiu Giwa, who's our new vice captain, defensive midfielder, he will be starting that position the majority of games. He's the one we're really wanting to develop. Again, really good spread of stats, certainly from a mental game. He's brilliant. Ball winning midfielder. Anchor. He's going to keep us really tight at the back end, keep us a bit more defensively sound, and as a vice captain, he's going to be a bit better presence than Brewstad was, who didn't get many games last season. So really excited to see what he can do this season. Victor Brinkhurst, we've let go out on loan, another one of them centre half rotationals. We're going to let him go on loan for the first half of the season while we rely on some of the other younger centre halves. He should come back to bolster us in the second half of the season, a slightly better player, and make us a little bit more stable. Oviehin, we've seen, 27 years old. Again, he's going to be on that left-hand side in midfield. Really good spread of stats, really good servant. He won't play in the defensive unless needed when Guy was out injured, but I'm hoping to play more on that left-hand side in the centre of the park. He's done really well in pre-season as well, so 3 goals and 6 assists in the World Cup African qualifier. So again, really good player to have. Frank Bakuru, probably going to get phased out. No one's come in for him, or else I probably would let him go. More of a squad rotational player, 25-year-old Australian, but I think we've got some better and brighter players coming through that are going to get a bit more game time. Josh Harris, he will start as left back and he will continue, 22-year-old Welshman. Again, he's still got a bit of potential to eke out up to a guaranteed 3.5 stars. So yeah, really solid performer. Played with his first team for quite a while now. You can see them last 3 seasons, really consistent, getting a huge number of games in as we look to develop him towards his maximum potential. Jesper Strid, the young Albanian, he's kind of been in and out for a few years. Again, to Solken, he'll compete on that right hand side. We'll see who comes out on top. He's got 17 caps for Albania, so he's playing a bit more football outside of just the club football, something Solken's not quite got. But Strid, he might be the one who kind of steps up and takes it as his own. Solken's who I'm kind of going with at the start, but Strid might well get in there. Thomas Santos, one I'm really excited about, centre half. He's 196 centimetres tall. We like a big, tall centre half. Can head the ball away and do all that kind of defensive covering that he needs to do. Huge bit of potential in there in terms of our centre halves, because we've not got the greatest of crops or spread, but he can hopefully make up that kind of 4-man rotational, certainly within the cup games, to give a bit of a rest to Carter, Harris and Clifford. Moving a little bit further down, you've got Carter, Welsh international, 23-year-old. I mean, he's got better and better, but he seems to have peaked at 3 stars. I don't think he's going to eke too much more out than that. He might surprise me. We will see. But again, a really good option at centre half, quite consistent, if not remarkable. Robbie Harris, again, he's one in there as a squad player. I don't think he's going to play overly much football for us this year, if I'm honest. I don't think he pips Kiwa in the defensive midfield role. I don't think he's strong enough to fight for a first team place in the middle. So, really good squad player to have. 27 years old, not really set the world on fire. But again, a really steady player, one of the players you need to have in the squad, because he's quite happy to be a rotational option. Ahmed Sarkodie, I've discussed it countless times, best player at the club, 24 years old, so he's still got a number of years left with us. And he just keeps getting better and better. So 4.5 stars currently, 83 to 91 million. We've still got until 2054, so another 4 years with no release clause on it as well. So again, I'm hoping he's going to have another really big breakout season and stick out like a sore thumb again. In terms of the other rotational options in midfield, we've got Seamus Byrne. He's played some games for us before, currently at a 2-star, gusting up to 3, maybe 4 in terms of potential. Again, a rotational option in the middle of the park. Certainly some of the weaker games where the game might already be dead. Paul Brown, New Zealand defensive midfielder. Again, 2-star, gusting up to 3.5. Deep line playmaker, maybe an option to rotate with Giwa. Again, not sure if he's going to be able to take it long term, but we'll see how he develops this season. 19 years old, 5 caps. This should be one where he gets a few more games. Outside of that, we've got Chris Fulks, one of the ones we're really excited about. He got the Young Player of the Year in the Premier League last season. He's already at 17 years old, considered to be a Premier League standard footballer, and he's not even anywhere near his potential threshold yet. So again, hoping another full season. I mean, he played 25 games last season with a 7.33 average. So lots more to come from him. One we're really excited about. Then we've got Kelton Neves, Portuguese winger. Not had too much in terms of the first team, but again, he's got the potential up to 3.5 stars. He'll be a rotational option on that right-hand side, albeit he might not be the second choice, but we will rotate him through and give him some game time, see what he can do this year. Outside of Neves, we've got Chedi Mandanda. I think this might be the season he kind of fades away. 103 caps for the Republic of Congo. Again, that centre of the park ball winning, maybe on the left-hand side rotation with OVA, and maybe if we swap to an attacking midfielder role again, he might get some more game time. But certainly, I think this might be where he starts to phase out a little bit. At 32 years old, I think we've got some bright players coming through, and he might not get the game time he wants. Then we've got Lilafan Samana. Again, probably second option on the right. Fulks is probably going to play a lot of games on that right-hand side. Samana had a really good season last year. He's still got some potential to eke out. I mean, he is a good player, and if it wasn't for Fulks coming through at such an early age with such high potential, he might be our first choice right winger. But he's going to have to play a little bit of second fiddle at the minute. But again, really good stat spread, so he should get some plenty game time. Adam Bent, another one on that right-hand side, so it's going to be really difficult to rotate them. A higher potential threshold, but he's just not really delivered yet. Only 21 years old. But again, depending on how the season pans out with injuries and performances, he might well get an opportunity at some point on that right-hand side. After Adam Bent, we've got Victor Rooks. Now, he's an iffy one. We might send him out on loan because we're so strong on that right-hand side. I did want to keep him. He's 17 years old, high potential threshold. I wanted to give him some game time and expose him to the first team, but I think you can see there's 2 or 3 players ahead of him already. So we're really going to struggle to get him the game time he wants to develop. So another loan season for him is probably what's on the cards. After Roots, we've got Benedict Joseph, first choice on the left-hand side. Again, he's come on leaps and bounds. 23-year-old, 38 to 42 million. Nothing in terms of England, not even youth caps, but I think this might be another breakout season for him. 2 goals, 3 assists in the friendlies already, and I'm expecting big and bright things for him. The front 3 especially, I'm quite excited about this year. Josh Harris, this is a bit of a sad one really. He was coming through as a really promising bright midfielder, 20-year-old Welsh, got a cap already, plays more in an advanced role, but he can play in a centre. Unfortunately, he's picked up a bit of a nasty injury, so he will be out for 3 to 5 months with a cruciate knee injury. So not the best, but his stat spread's fantastic. He looks like he could be a really good player in terms of a squad player. So a bit of a shame he's going to miss out for the bulk of the season, but we'll see when he comes back. Gary Lieberd's an interesting one. He's played a lot of games in the friendlies. I think he might be slightly better now when we compare him with our mainstay. Where is he? Raheem Primus. So again, Lieberd's in the green, Primus is in the blue, and I just think in terms of vision, technical and aerial, Lieberd might be the player to go with, because we don't really need him from the defensive side or the physical side, and the speed's negligible. I think this might be the season that Lieberd just slides past him a little bit, gets a bit more game time. He's a year younger, but we'll see. Again, that's a good competition to watch this season, because only one of them can play in the formation we do. And I think Lieberd's currently made that shirt his own. Dimitris, we'll call him. Again, he's come back from loan. Another one fighting for that top berth up the top. Again, not as good a stat spread. I think when you do the comparison with him and Liebert, it's a bit more clear cut. Liebert got the edge on him all the way around attacking, technical, aerial. Speed's the same. It's that little bit of physical and mental. Svinginess has got it, but again, he's 20 years old. He's got 3 years more development. I think he will probably overtake him at some point. Whether he can squeeze his way in this season, I'm not sure. Probably not. Then we've got Abraham Ugachukwu, which is the generational talent. I really, really want to keep him in here and see what he can do and throw him into some games. But I think realistically, we're probably going to have to send him out on loan, which is disappointing because it's looking like this probably is the last season of the save, and we might not get to see what this player can do. But I'll see if I can get a really good loan for him and see if we can develop him as best we can and still keep updates and tabs on him as we go through the season. Last couple of players, Raheem Primus, we've kind of had a look at. Really good, prolific for the last few years. I think he might slightly fade out now. His potential still got a little bit to eke out, but I don't think he's going to make it a first team hit much more. He's played a huge number of games, 203 games for 77 goals, so not terrible. Getting better and better in the last 2 seasons, but I think this might be the season where he has to just step back a little bit. And then finally, Dario Spahar, the 17-year-old German striker. Again, it might be another one. He has to go out alone because the competition up that top spot for one place is quite short. It might be that Spahar goes out on loan and we keep Olga Chukwu. We'll see as the season develops. But again, it's nice to see some really good young players coming through that. Certainly in that top of the field position, that's where the goal scorers, that's where you want to see them. So that's where we are in terms of the tactics. Again, we're going to stick with this. I think it just works out slightly better for us. When we change back to the defensive midfielder, we actually got a few more good results. I think the front three, Forgust in 5 is really strong. Aguiwa's going to come on a bit more this season. So overall, I think we've got a really balanced squad, and I think we can really make a push towards the top end, if not necessarily top of the league, because if one team runs away with it, I think it'll be very difficult to keep up. But certainly I think we might be able to achieve our highest finish in the Premier League so far. Outside of that, I think that's all you need to see really. I'll update you as the season goes on. I won't play any game on this episode because it's been quite a long one in terms of looking at the players. In terms of predictions, just before we go, we're not fancied. We're at 700 to 1. Probably a mid-table finish is more than likely for us, but I think 8th we've had. I think we just want to try and push up into that top 4 is what I'm aiming for. I think we've got it in us. I think just a little bit of development. Looking through our best players, considered to be Ahmed Sarkodie and Fahim Kutlu. So 2 really good players, but we'll see how we go on. Hopefully we won't lose any more players before the start of the season. Hopefully you've enjoyed all your bank holiday weekend. I certainly did, which is why this episode is slightly late. And then I will get on with playing through and updating you when the next intake preview is in. So until next time, hopefully that served as a good update. Wish us luck for the final season, and let's see who we think the best player of the season might be in terms of development. Until next time, take care.